All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Saptarishis Astrology. We have two astrologers, Selva Ganesh ji, a stalwart in astrology, and I recently realized that he was raised in Palakkad district, and that's something nearby my, almost nearby in my native place, Kerala, and he's from Kerala. I always thought he was a Tamilian, but uh, by one of my dear friends and a very dear friend of Saptarishis astrology in the initial years of Saptarishis astrology. He helped quite a lot. He's also from Palakkad. Anyway, so both of them are going to speak about that topics. Okay. Initially, we'll take Yashraj ji, who's from Benaras, a young guy, okay, who is very research oriented and with a classical base. He has presented a lot of lectures in Saptarishi's Master Series and Guru Purnima events. Amit Bhai would remember him. Amit Bhai, Pranam, how are you doing? Okay. And yes, the reason, many people tell us that these days, in the last few years, we are bringing a lot of new and young talent. Okay. And there is always a risk when it comes to that. Okay. And some senior astrologers feel a bit odd. Okay. But I believe there is no such thing as young or old in astrology. There is only talent, talent, talent. Okay. Just because I have gray hair does not mean I have knowledge. Okay. Yash has proven that with his hard work. Okay. He goes through systematically. He's an MBA or you're pursuing your MBA, am I right? Or you're finished your MBA? Yash. Can't hear you, Yash.
Pursuing my MBA.
Okay, great. So we have him. He spends days, and in the next few minutes, you will realize how he's going to break the notion on divisional charts, Vargas. He's going to show you a shloka from a book that's ignored by most professional astrologers. And it's a book, probably, if I remember well, and I can be wrong, written in the 16th century. It's available, earlier it used to be available only in Hindi from Sanskrit, translated to Hindi. Then Sagar Publications published it. Then it went out of print. When I was working on that book, my mentor asked me a question. Do you know the history of this book? I said, no. He said, always find out the history of the book, whether interpolations were made, etc., whether there are different variations of the same book, which the shlokas changed or chapters added, and find out the history of the writer. Whom did he learn from? Which parampara he belonged? This is very important when you are learning an ancient science. Who, for example, Brihad Jatak, there is great book by Varamira. You need to understand Brihad Jatak was kind of rejected. I use the word kind of rejected in earlier days by many Benaras scholars. But it got accepted in the south, in Kerala. And they don't call it Brihad Jatak, they call it Hora Shastra. So they have in Kerala, they have 4 or 5 books which they master completely. Like Brihad Jatak, Prashniyam, Prashnamar, okay, Prashna Anushthan Paddhati, Krishniyam, sorry, not Prashniyam, Krishniyam. Okay, Prashniyam was our course we did on Prashna. So these are the books. Then if you read the commentary in Malayalam on Brihad Jatak, if I remember, the first or the second shloka is 64 pages. Gopal Krishna, our Malayali writer, who's also lecturing in our Guru Purnima, he showed me the book. He showed me the complete, it's so fat, the comment. 64 pages only first shloka. And I do remember one great scholar telling me the first shloka of Brihad Jatak, I think even B.V. Raman wrote about it, contains a secret method. 15 years back, chapter 1, shloka number 19, for 1600 years, people thought that that shloka only contained the Rashiman. Rashiman, the duration, the length of each Rashi. Great scholars all over India, Benaras to B. Surya Narayan Rao to everybody has written on that shloka. But for 1600 years, everybody committed that mistake in understanding that shloka. Until the late Subramanyam Shastri in 1936 or 38, I forget now. In his book, he said this is a system of timing events. But it was ignored because he gave a slightly altered example by which it could be misleading. People ignored it until Saptarishis Astrology wrote an article on it. Then people who had written commentary, published it in Sagar publications, they called me and they said, you have given us a complete system of prediction. That shloka contains a complete system of timing events. Unfortunately, I could write only part 1 of that system. A dear friend of mine, Robert Koch, I shared part 2 or part 3 with him many years back. I never had the time, unfortunately, to take it further in writing. So we have Yashraj Sharma ji. Yashraj, quickly, 2 of your lectures, what it is about, and then let's come to that shloka from the great classic Maansagari, which is supposed to be written by Hirji, and it is supposedly said that it is a combination of Parasari and Bhrighu Parasari. This is what little I know, and I can be wrong. Okay, so please tell us, Yashraj, enough of my talking.
Sir, first of all, namaskar for giving me chance here, and I'm very grateful to Saptarishi. Every time they have picked me for my researches, whatever I am doing, because I am very a shy person and don't like to present myself. But Sunil Johnji always motivates me to do further researches, to do certain projects, and he is like a mentor to me, to be very honest. And so I was working and reading. I have a fantasy, you can say, that interest, passion to read old classics. And I was going through this book, Maansagari. And this, as Sunil sir said, that Maansagari is a book, I will say, written or compiled by Hirji. Okay, in 16th century. And that astrologer was somewhere from Gujarat, the Gujarat area. And that book, there it was given that D3, D9, D12, whatever the uses of those charts were given there is totally different from Parashar's view. Parashar says that D3 should be used for your siblings, for your courage, everything. That is fine. There is no problem with that. But this Maansagari says that Karmaphala means what results of karma which we are doing in the present life, we are getting the results of those karma is because of the past life. That is the very popular and common theory, and that is seen from the D3 chart. The only reason D3 is able to do, and that shloka is given in Maansagari, from my practical understanding, is that third house of any horoscope is the basic intentions of a person. Basic intentions means whatever you are doing in day-to-day life. Okay, even drinking water, eating food. So everything must have some or other intentions, and intentions are much more heavier on activity which is more on a conscious level. Okay, so it shows the basic intention which is hidden in your somewhere in the unconscious mind. So that is the third house of your horoscope, and that generates everything. So D3 shows that what is the basic intentions of each planet. And therefore, because intentions matters in karma, not the karma phala. Intentions drives the karma phala. Okay, suppose someone, you wanted to help someone, you are helping someone, but you are not able to help him, means he is not saved by your action. It will not result you in a negative karma, but you were able to save that person. Instead, still you did not done your act, and that is the problem in your intention, and that will result you in a negative results. In, suppose you are able to save a dog who is crossing the road, or he is lying on injured or lying on the road, you are able to save him because of your free will, but you just ignored and walked ahead. Similarly, you are saving a dog, but he is not saved. You did your karma, your action, not karma. Okay, so this is the intention which matters, and this is seen from the D3 only. That is why D3 is important. Now you see, technically, it is the 10th house from your depths. What is your 10th house? 10th house is the karma. It is the more influential house of any from any house. Okay, so from the 6th house of your Shad Ripus, 10th house is the karma of those ripus. Now, another very important point which I want to say, that 5th house, it is your Purv Janma Sanskar. Okay, and 5th house is your Purv Janma Sanskar. Remember this because it adds much more importance to the 3rd house. And this 5th house is the Bhavad Bhavam of the 3rd house. That is why this D3 becomes so much of important. Okay, so I remember one of my prediction, and that person is a preacher of Gita and is doing wonderfully as of now, and having lakhs of subscribers, and he is growing wonderfully in his Venus Dasha. And I remember in 2019, he had come to me for a consultation that how will he progress in this, in his Venus Dasha. And in his D3, Venus was exalted in the 7th house of position, being 9th lord of dharma. Okay, now you see that computers is the TV and YouTube, and he's doing very well on YouTube and this computer field, and with luxury, because it adds luxury as well. So you can see the element of your karma in D3. That is why, whether to see your what you will do, what nature of karma, I particularly stress on the nature of karma because that is the intention where intention lies. So nature of your karma is seen from D3, not D10. D10 will broadly show your karma. Nature is better seen in D3. That is why D3 is important. And I will be having a detailed webinar on D3, explaining that how you should see the nature of karma, when the karma will end, when your karma will end, when there will be problem in karma, when you will do negative karma. Okay, all these things will be seen from D3. Even the nature of your profession is driven by your intentions. That is also well seen from D3, not D10. Okay, I am again saying nature of your karmas, nature of your profession, nature of everything, whatever you are doing is better seen from D3. Okay, so this is my first topic, and second topic will be on the, yes Sam, you want to say something?
This will be on first, second of July. It's free for all. First, second, and third July is free for all, the Guru Purnima event, which we are calling it pre-Guru Purnima because Guru Purnima is on 3rd July. And first and second is 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. IST. Okay. 3rd July, we have an old stalwart, Professor C.S. Rao, will be teaching absolute basics of KP astrology for the beginners in KP astrology. And he would be taking from 7 to 8, and after that would be my lectures. I will be taking on different topics. and how much ever my strength is there will be there. But what I suggest to people, the links are there. Okay, we have broadcast it on our Facebook page, or you can call up our office, write to them at admin@saptarishisastrology.com and join this. It's completely okay. Join, but join in advance, join with your camera on. If your camera is not on, okay, the Zoom, this thing will be kind of giving preference to people with camera because of the respect you need to show to the speaker, to the teacher, and to the subject, to the Rishi's work. Okay. So this is a lecture. I really want people to listen to Yashraj and understand DV3 because that is one of the Upachaya houses, and also the third house. No doubt it is efforts, etc., and all that. Okay. But the third house is the Naisargik Badak house to unlock your 10th house. So your efforts, the nature of it, the pressure you put in, how you do it, how you present yourself to the world is important. Incidentally, it is a past life house which many people ignore or are not aware of. Okay, apart from the other past life houses, third house is there. And that is the reason, the logic is, that is the reason the third house in India and in the West, Western astrology also, both take it as the subconscious house, the house of the subconscious mind. Fifth house is your mind, third house is your subconscious. That is the reason many a times when we do some actions or are trying to do some actions, okay, we hesitate. Are you getting it? We hesitate. We have phobias. Third house and eighth house. Third house is the Bhavat Bhavam of the eighth house. Eighth house is phobias. Eighth house is the house of darkness. You always fear going in the dark. You always fear that until you circumnavigate. Anyway, Yash, your second lecture.
Thank you, sir. So the second lecture
Okay,
is on a very, yeah,
before, can I interrupt you? Would you be
yes,
kind enough
please.
to show that shloka from Maansagari? Okay, because it also contains many other
Yeah,
hidden features of
I'm not
divisional.
able to share the screen
Okay,
as of
can
now.
I share it? I can share it. Okay, just
Yeah,
give me a
please.
second. Okay, can you all see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yes, all yours.
Okay. So you can see that here it is written Shadvarg. Okay. And Parashara has given a lot of importance to this Shadvarga. Shadvarga, he has given a specific importance. Okay. And I am not I will explain all these things in webinar that what it means Shadvarga and why it is important. But just to show you that what here it is given, Lagne Deha Charu. Okay. Means to see about your Deha, body, you have to consider the Lagna chart, which is the D1 chart. Okay. Hora ya Mart Sampado Vipada. Okay. Means to see wealth and calamities from Hora. The D2 chart should be seen for the both your material wealth and also calamities, problems, okay, disasters. Then it says Dresh Kane Karma Phalam means from D3 you should see Karma Phal, okay, which is because of your intentions. Then it says Saptanshe Bandhu Sankhya Cha means we all know that D7 Parashara has said to see your children, but here it is saying to see your siblings, how many siblings you will have, co-borns. Okay, from Saptamsha. And this is very different. Hmm. Then it says all Jatak Phalam Navanshe, means everything about the Jatak, everything about the individual native should be seen from the Navansh. Okay. Now you have to differentiate that it first says for the body, it is Lagna, for the everything. Okay. Every results of one native Prarabdha, I would say it is from Navansh. Okay. There is no mention of your married life. Then it says Dwada Dwadash Bhage Vichinte Ya Patnim. Okay. Which means that for all about your wife, spouse, marriage should be considered from Dwadashamsha D12 chart. Okay, and there is no mention of your parents. And the last one is Trishanshe Nidhanam ve Yavanachar is Sada Dyuptam. Okay, means Yavanachar advises you to see all these things from that, and death, how the end will come, should be seen from Trishansh. Okay, and I remember one shloka from uh, Hora Ratnam. It says the eighth house of Trishansh is important for the end. I'm just giving a hint here because this is not the matter to uh, say on a social media like YouTube. People may be horrified. So this is the shloka, and it has totally different meaning from Parashar, and it holds true in practice as well. Okay, so now uh, coming to from this coming to the my second topic, which is the karmic balance of your second marriage. Okay, or whether you can say whether is there any more than one marriage in your chart or not. So it is very complex topic, and it is very complex topic. Any topic of marriage is very complex. Speaking anything after the first marriage is the most complex thing in astrology after death predictions. I personally consider it. Okay, because there is so much of diversity in it. So I am only considering whether you will marry for the second time or not. Okay, there are people with live-in relationships. There are people with the casual relationships. It can be more than 10, more than 20. There is no limit to it. But my topic is on D12, from where to see the second marriage. Which house is the for the second marriage? And I'm no mood to reveal it here. It will be revealed in the webinar that which house should be seen for the second marriage. It is not the eighth house. It is not the second house. It is not even the ninth house. Okay. So this is the second marriage. Whether it will be you will be happy in second marriage or how it will run. There is no uh, talks of the third, fourth, fifth marriage because it is never ending. But I will be mostly considering that is there more than one marriage or not. Okay, what is the scene? The scene has changed because in earlier times, kings and the wealthy people generally has 3, 4 wives or more than one wife, and it was considered as a pride. But now it has become a different case. Okay, even today, people living in Saudi or Western countries, they have no problem with 2 or 3 marriages. Okay, at least in India, it is still a spiritual land and a very Maryada land. So Raja Dashrath had 4 wives. Ram, the Lord Ram, had only one marriage. So he has set the trend for the one marriage. Okay, son is important. I'm giving a hint here. Son is important. So this is about the one marriage, and it's more in India mostly or anywhere in the world. It can be second marriage, third marriage can come out of some pleasures, can come out of some tragedy. It depends on the horoscope. Okay, so and there I will be using the use of D12 will be shown there. and how to use D12 for the second marriage. In I'm not trying to say that Parashar is wrong. D9 should not be used for the marriage. Parashar is 100% correct in his verses, but Maansagari also holds true. Each and every divisional chart is interlinked, and every divisional chart has some purposes with all of them. Okay, so D12 will not show everything about your marriage. It will show some very particular aspects of marriage. Navansh will show some other aspects of marriage. Okay, even D7 is used in marriage. Even D16 is used in marriage. So all have different purposes, and one can write a complete book on divisional charts and use of marriage. D30 is used for marriage. Okay, so don't be dogmatic with your thinking that only Navansh should be used for the marriage. You can use you should use D16, you should use D3 for the sex life, you should use D30 for the misfortunes in marriage. So it is not a dogmatic thing, and I'm not against Parasar. I'm just saying what to be taken out from the Maansagari and how to use it, how to make your predictions and approach more sound. Okay, and to do a more comprehensive astrology, because astrology is not a one liner, it should be holistic and comprehensive. Okay, so this is the thing, and thank you. So, Sunil sir, now I think you should.
Quickly, I'll tell a story that I've told many, many times. Thank you so much, Yashraj ji. And this is a story I've written in the editorial in 2008. And what I've spoken about it in so many of my lectures. But it is with a person, a yogi, Agnihotri Maharaj, who was guided. I was in Benaras before I started the magazine. I decided to start Saptarishis Astrology magazine 2007. So I just went to Benaras. I said, if you're going to do a magazine, you got to have the best of the knowledge, and everybody knows knowledge starts and ends in Benaras. You know, as Mark Twain, or I'm forgetting the great writer, a very famous English writer, he said, Banaras is as old as Vedas. You know, Varanasi is as old as Vedas. And I had a special love for it. So I went to Chokamba Publications, which is the oldest publication in Banaras. I spent some time over there. They were not forthcoming in telling me who were great astrologers. Then there was this one guy working in Chokamba called Jamnadas. Very simple man. I was going away. He called me quiet. He said, "What do you want?" I said, "You all know the best of the writers over here. If you can guide me to some very genuine person." He said, "I know one person. He's a yogi. He walks every day from here to Dashamed, and every day I see him. He takes his lota. He goes for the dip in Ganga. So quite a few times I see him in the morning." Okay. Thanks, Joseph. Yes, much Mark Twain. So he then said, you go and meet him. He has some special knowledge. So I was very happy not meeting just a householder, but a yogi, a sannyasi. So I said his address. He said, I don't know the address, but his house, his ashram, whatever, is behind so and so theatre. I forget the name of the theatre. Okay, now. Earlier I should remember that name, 15 years back. So I went in the rickshaw fellow. I said, behind so and so theatre. So I thought behind the theatre, that might be one building. I'll find his address. His name was Agnihotri Maharaj. So behind the theatre, there is a whole city. Later I found out. Whole city. Now what do you do? So I went from house to house, house to house. Nobody knew Agnihotri Maharaj. The problem is the old Benaras is so intricate. everything is like this. You can't go in. If you go in without a guide, you can't come out of that lane. It's impossible. So I went with my guide. Okay, we kept on asking. Finally, somebody said so and so house. We went over there. It was a small house. Okay, and incidentally, Agnihotri Maharaj was not there. So they said, come tomorrow. I said, what time? They said, whatever your time comes. There is no system of appointments and all. And I went next day. And it was a costly affair for me. I had broken my fixed deposits, broken my money, fooled my father into breaking them, and gone for this trip of Benaras and stayed there for quite a few days, trying to hunt astrology for the maximum. Unfortunately, I came back empty handed. So next day I went and I found Agnihotri Maharaj. He was in a dhoti, just a white line cloth. And I started speaking to him. Now, he seemed a very suspicious guy. Who are you? Why are you here? Nobody ever contacts me for such a thing. Then he asked who's going to write. I told about two, three names. He knew those names. Okay, two, three great astrologers, I said. He was very particular. Then we started discussing astrology, etc., and all that. So then I asked him a very fundamental question about Vargas. I said, sir, the time is 2.5 hours for each lagna. Okay. So, I have to keep on reminding my maid not to talk while I am talking. So that's when you will hear me on the mute, okay, and me talking, but I'm on the mute. That's for her or the kid or somebody else in the house. Okay. This is the problem, of not having an office and living in a small place in Bombay. Anyway, so people don't understand astrology. Anyway, so I started discussing. I said, sir, how do we see that in 2 hours, 2.5 hours of a lagna, so many people are born in Bombay or Delhi or wherever? How can everybody have the same this thing? He said, yes, there are Vargas. So I said, sir, in 2 hours, so many people. He said, so what? You guys call yourself the most educated lot, scientific, so many of you engineers, doctors, okay, researchers, you all only keep on doing research. I do not know what are you searching for. Okay. He was laughing at us. And he knew English. He had left everything, taken sannyas, and in his small ashram, he had some students and he showed me those students. He said, these people are staying with me, I feed them, okay, and I teach them Vedas, I teach them Sanskrit, I teach them Jyotish. He was a very level-headed guy, but a very strict guy. I was also getting scared talking to him, and I was very young at that time, So he said, you guys call yourselves so educated, yet you all take Chandra Lagna. You all take Chandra Lagna, Surya Lagna, and you all decipher a chart. I said, sir, that is as per the Shastra. He said, what is scientific about it? You are having a problem in 2 hours. So many people are born in Bombay. And then you have, okay, then you have so many people born in 2 days. And still you are continuing since thousands of years. He said, okay, you can say the previous Pandits were continuing, but they were not educated. They were not scientific minded, scientific thinking like you all. I said, sir, moon is the seed of creation, blah, blah, blah. I gave him all the theory that I had learned from social media. He said, either you use your brains or you use scientific, real scientific, not your pseudo-scientific mind. Educated lots you all call. He was trying to, pin me. Kept on telling, educated lot you all call yourself, And I knew whom he was referring to, some of the authors' name I had mentioned. Okay. So then I said, sir, Rashi chart, fine, fair enough. But it doesn't spill out the beans, it doesn't go deeper. Now, Parasar Rishi has given so many Varga charts. Which one to take? Each one is given a different. So he said, use Navamsa, which Maansagari is also telling. Much later, I realized Maansagari is telling that. Why am I telling you all this story? This shloka, if you remember, what does it say? All effects about native from Navamsa, the second last line. Are you all seeing this? Yes or no?
Of course, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir.
So I was very happy. I said to him, sir, I have given a lecture on the chart of John F. Kennedy, all the events of his life just from Navamsa. And I used Navamsa. I said, sir, still, it is not giving me 100% success. He said, no, use Navamsa. I said, it doesn't. It doesn't give. He said, no, Navamsa. I said, no, sir, it's not giving. Now, I kept on arguing. You know, when you're young, you argue. You know, you think you're educated lot. You know, you argue. You open your mouth. How does a child argue? You know, he doesn't know who you are. That you are his father. That you have seen many waters flowing under the bridge. So I kept on arguing, arguing. And he kept on saying, no much. I said, no, sir. He said, no much, no, sir, no much, no, sir, no much, no, sir. Dwadashamsha. He said, Dwadashamsha. I fell at his feet because that's where my research had ended. I fell at his feet and I realized this man hid that knowledge just to see how much I had done chappal gisai, how much hard work I had done. Because I found one thing. 12th house is your past life. That is your atit. That's your shadow. It was not written in any book. It was not written anywhere. And I had been secretly working on Dwadashamsha. But you get scared talking in social media. At that time, Sanjay Rath's group, PVR's group, Yahoo groups used to function. Anything you write, everybody asks for a shloka. Or parampara. You know, either shloka or parampara. Now, I have nothing. I don't know Sanskrit. I don't have shlokas. I don't have a parampara. And here was a yogi who supposedly roamed around India, met several people. Agnihotri Maharaj, okay, an extremely rude guy, whom I became rude with this. And you know, the last time I kept on saying, no, sir, it doesn't work. No, I said, ab ye chappal marne wala, bhagane wala. Now he's going to beat me. Now he's going to slap me or tell me to get lost. And that's it, Dwadashamsha. Which, if you see this shloka, okay, something else, all about wife from Dwadashamsha. So here is a different view, not my view. Maansagari is not agreeing to my view or the view of Agnihotri Maharaj. But I am giving you an opportunity, an inspiration to work on it. It's very difficult when you look at the chart of India and you see various tragedies that have happened. You realize Dwadashamsha changes in few seconds from the time that we take. Okay. So anyways, why do I like Yashraj so much? We're going to come to Selva Ganeshji in few seconds. Okay, he's been very patient with us. Why do I like Selva Ganeshji? Why do I like Yashraj? is he's going into uncharted territories. He is going into uncharted territories which people are unable to go. Are you getting it? Anyways, thank you so much, Yashraj, for your time. I told you only 5 minutes and I've taken up a lot of your time.
Sir, thank you. And thank you everyone here